how's it going? It's That Nerd Ryan here, and today we're going to finally do the sequel of something that I started a couple months ago. For the factor, I just have not gotten to making this. I'm already on Black Ops 3, so hopefully in a couple weeks we'll do Black Ops 2, and then Black Ops 3 is going to have to wait, because I'm still working out the intricacies of it. And also, I have not bought Revelations or Zombie Chronicles yet. I might not even get Zombie Chronicles. But today we're going to be talking about Black Ops 1 zombie modes. And yes, I know this is like almost 13 years late, 14 years, but you know, I don't care. It's content I want to make. So yeah, let's talk about it. So we have a good amount of maps to cover in this. I believe a total of 7, if I remember right. We have Kino, 5, technically Dead Ops Arcade I'm going to skip, that doesn't really count. But then Ascension, Shangri-La, Call of the Dead, and Moon. So we actually do have 6. Dead Ops Arcade does make it 7. We're not going to cover the re-releases of the maps for World at War, because technically that's what I reviewed when talking about the World at War zombie maps. But yeah, so without further ado, let's talk about characters first. We still have the 4 from the last game, which is Tank Dempsey, Takeo Masaki, Nikolai Belinsky, and Edward Richtofen. It is still the Ultimus crew, so they're still unhinged and insane compared to the Primus crew. We also get 8 other characters that we could play as in this. So we get the presidential crew, meaning Kennedy, Nixon, McNamara, and Castro in 5. And then we also get the celebrity cast in Call of the Dead, being Sarah Michelle Gellar, Danny Trejo, Robert Englund, and Michael Rooker. So let's just cover the characters really quick. For the Ultimus crew, I'm going to cover them all at once, because we already kind of talked about them in World at War. I do find them very funny, a little edgy at times. I mean, it was 2009, but yeah, they're a little unhinged and edgy, and it's nice. For the presidential crew, I found Kennedy to be my favorite, McNamara to be my least favorite, but they do have iconic quotes. For Call of the Dead, I actually usually only played as Sarah Michelle Gellar or Danny Trejo in this. I found them both enjoyable and fun to play as, especially Sarah Michelle Gellar, being that she's Daphne in my eyes. Alright, so with that, let's start with what I consider the most famous zombies map. This is what got a lot of people, including myself, into Call of Duty Zombies. It is a very iconic map. That is Kino der Toten. So this is a very simplistic map of being in a Nazi theater. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying that, but I mean that's what it is. So the lore behind it is the characters jump ahead 20 years and are in the 60s now at a old Group 935 experimentation area. In here, we are introduced to the Nova Crawlers, which are a new type of zombie that run at you on all 4s, and when they die, they explode with Nova 6 gas, which is a gas from the campaign. And your whole goal in this is to open up the entire thing, turn on power, and find all the tapes and listen to them. When you use the teleporter in the main theater, you are transported to Pack-a-Punch, which has a projector. You're kind of in a safe area, so you can listen to the projector while you pack-a-punch your stuff. And also you have a crow's nest to shoot down, or, as I do, throw grenades down at zombies. This also introduced the Thunder Gun, which is a infinite damage 2-shot gun, 4-shot when pack-a-punched, that launches a burst of air to zombies to kill them and knock them down. You still have the main 4 Coca-Colas until you get the game updated where with Moon, where you get Mule Kick as well. But yeah, there's really nothing big in this map of note besides that this is kind of the map that got a lot of people into zombies. It's the most famous, most iconic. The hidden song, being 115, is probably the most iconic zombie song as well. And, I mean, it's just fun. I mean, you get the entry room, then, depending on which way you go, if you go left, you get the flame room, then the alley, then the studio room, and then you get to the backstage. If you go right, you get just kind of another lobby slash seeing gala. Then you get to the bar, then the dressing room, and then back to the backstage where once you turn on power, you could get to the audience area. Again, this map is just so fun to play. It's so fun to train in and everything. Just really like it. That map I'm giving a 9 out of 10 just because it's, you know, very famous, but I mean there's not a lot to go off of as well after a while once you get all the tapes. I did forget to mention too that when you do use the teleporter to Pack-a-Punch, on your way back sometimes you'll get thrown into random rooms, such as 2 different versions of Samantha Maxis's rooms, a good version and a bad version, a dentist's room, which reminds me of Rooked, and the Pentagon. And in saying that, that leads us to 5. 5 has one of our first cinematic openings, where we get to see a meeting between Kennedy, McNamara, Nixon, and Castro get crashed by some zombies, and you have to survive. So you start out in that boardroom, then go to the war room, then the labs. So as this is happening, zombies are attacking, obviously. And I remember the first time playing this map is actually very frightening. I mean, way back in 2009, I remember playing this for the first time, and seeing the zombies crash through the glass still haunts me to this day. So basically in this, you have to run through, try to find the hidden song, which is Eminem Won't Back Down, through the red phones. Have to turn on the DEFCONs to get to Pack-a-Punch. It'll teleport you there. You can also use the lab's teleporters to teleport around, turn on power. And there's also this pig that you can or cannot kill. That's kind of like the only Easter egg in this, kind of. Obviously tapes and everything like that. In this too, you get introduced to the Pentagon Thief, who is one of the most annoying bosses ever. He literally will steal your gun if he touches you. Although, if you kill him without him touching you, you get a bonfire sale, which means that Pack-a-Punch is half off. You get a fire sale no matter what, and you get a max ammo. This also didn't really introduce anything new besides the Winter's Howl, which they did retroactively put in Verrupt on this game. So I might have already talked about the Winter's Howl, but I don't believe I did. So what it does is it freezes zombies. Probably one of my least favorite wonder weapons. But yeah, it's not a good weapon. It kind of looks like just a frosty ray gun as well. This map is substantially harder than Kino der Toten. I remember when this game first came out, I barely played 5 just due to the difficulty of it compared to Kino der Toten. And getting used to it now, using the labs was my best option, running through those and everything. And then trying to survive past round 10. So next is Ascension. I will tell you, for Black Ops 1 and 2, I haven't been able to do most of the Easter eggs due to the fact of it being on a PS3. I don't have anybody to play with. Or if I did, they would back out last minute. I tried with Mob of the Dead, which we'll talk about in the next video. But you get nobody that's committed or people that do not want to take it seriously. And unfortunately, being on PS3, I don't have a way to find a core group to play those Easter eggs with. Maybe if I make a Patreon and you guys want to join it, and then we can also try to figure out how to hook up the capture cards to the PlayStations, we should be able to play it. But I will kind of mention just really quick what the whole idea of the Easter egg for these next few maps are, and we'll talk about that. So next is Ascension. This is actually probably my favorite map on Black Ops, and is just a very enjoyable map. So it takes place in a Russian missile testing site, and you instantly hear the beginning of the Easter egg, which is a person, basically Gersh, asking for help because Samantha is chasing after him. You also notice that it's black and white. So why is it black and white? Why is everything monochromatic? You got to figure out how to do that by turning on the power. You start out in basically an astronaut room where they test to see the endurance of an astronaut by spinning a device. Then you get out to an open area and find lunar landers, which is actually how you're introduced into the game, is in a lunar lander. And those, once you find all 3 pads and launch them, you're able to launch the rocket and get to Pack-a-Punch. Obviously, once you pass that lander area, you open up another door and go into the tower to where you can turn on the power. And the mystery box is, I think, 100% of the time in the power spot. After that, I usually just end up training in the corner, or in the pad 2 for the landing pads, and that usually lasts me forever. So for the new intros on this, for Perca-Colas, we have Stamina Up, which gives you longer running time and makes you a little bit faster, I believe. I haven't really used Stamina Up in Black Ops, but I started using it more in Black Ops 3. It is a very helpful perk. And then the other one that was introduced in this was PhD Flopper, which everybody loves. I am not a huge fan of PhD Flopper. I think it's a very situational perk. I do like the idea of no splash damage. That is a good aspect to it, but unless you're in the situation like I was in Zetso today, where everybody's surrounding you and you gotta shoot the ray gun at the ground, you don't really need to worry about splash damage as long as you're playing it safe. But the other part was dolphin diving causes a nuke. I felt like that was very situational. And I know the community gets upset with PhD not being in a lot of maps, but I can see why, because like I said, it does feel like a very situational perk for most of it. I feel like PhD's no splash could have been worked into Jug, but that's just me. But yeah, and then with that you also get the return of the Thunder Gun, but you also get a new specialist, or not specialist, new tactical grenade being the Gersh device, which opens up a black hole and sucks all the zombies around it, giving infinite damage so they're all dead. And then for the boss round you get monkeys. These monkeys are fun and annoying at the same time. So they're very tiny targets, so for console players you do need aim assist on to basically figure out how to hit them. They steal your perks, and they are very fast, and they explode when they try to hit you. They don't die explode, they just shoot an energy wave. So they are kind of annoying, but if you go around without them touching any of your perk machines, you get a free perk, which is very helpful at times. If I'm playing solo, I will only get Jug and then guard Jug during those rounds, and then try to figure out like how to guard other perks once I get that free perk. So for the Easter egg, basically what happens is you have to try to free Gersh. You go through getting a Gersh device, hitting buttons, and using a lot of RNG to release him. I had done this Easter egg once, but not completed it a very long time ago, so I barely remember it. Basically, we failed at the last step because we were shooting in the wrong area. I did not give 5 a ranking. I apologize. 5's ranking is a 7 out of 10. This one's ranking is a 10 out of 10. I thought this was a perfect map. Just love it to death. And next we have Call of the Dead. Call of the Dead is the biggest map I can remember back in the day, and it's just in a Siberian outpost. You have a ship that you can go through, you have a lighthouse you can go through, and then you have the main staging area. There's a lot of water traps, so it slows you down. A lot of other traps. You do get Ultimus with a cameo for the Easter egg. I'm not going to talk about the Easter egg because I never did it. But the characters in it are fun. There is a new perk and a new boss that is a perma-boss. So what I mean by perma-boss is George Romero himself is the zombie-fied version of himself that chases you down through the whole game. He has a ton of health, so it takes a lot to take him down. And once he is down, he'll come back next round. It is interesting having somebody like George run around in this map, simply for the fact that you have to account for him in training, and you have to kind of make sure that you don't actually shoot him where he gets pissed off and picks up speed. To calm him down, though, you have to get him in water, and if you stay in the water too long, you freeze. The new perk in this is Deadshot Daiquiri, which auto-aims to the zombies' heads, and also gives you a little bit wider of a hit ratio. I do enjoy Deadshot Daiquiri. I've actually been using it a lot in Black Ops 3, not by choice, but by Wonder Fizz or by Gobblegums, which we'll talk about when we get to Black Ops 3. But yeah, this map was originally challenging with the fact of George and also the fact of spawn points for zombies being very weird. This is one of those maps where I actually got to round 10 and instantly downed, so I counted it. But yeah, it's a very massive map. Pack-a-Punch moves around with the lighthouse light, so it is hard to keep track of Pack-a-Punch. And the opening cinematic for this is very fun. Same with the closing cinematic. So I am going to give this map a 6 out, or not a 6, an 8 out of 10. It's very fun once you get used to it, but it's also very challenging. Next is the worst map in the game, Shangri-La. This one's getting the 6 out of 10. So you're back as the Ultimus crew, and you are in Shangri-La, where you have to basically find a part for Richtofen. This map has a lot of Indiana Jones style automated traps that you go through, like a literal mud maze, spikes, and so on and so forth. There's a hidden like factory under the map that you can also run through. There's also 2 new bosses in this map. There's no new perk, just 2 new bosses. So you get the Shrieker, which will scream, and if you get hit by its scream, you're blinded for a couple seconds. Then there's the Napalm Zombie, which has more health than the Screamer. It'll explode when you kill it and kill anything in the general area, you and zombie alike. This map is not that fun. It's also very challenging, very tight-cornered, and you have to like literally remember a lot of things as you're playing this map. So I did not enjoy my time playing it. Again, I give it a 6 out of 10. Not a big fan of this map. And lastly, we have Moon. Moon is the most different map in this game. You start out without rounds. You start out in no man's land, where you'll basically be timed on how long you could survive. The timer ends when you teleport out or when you are killed. Usually I last about 2 minutes. The strategy that I've gone through is basically killing the first zombies before the first beeper goes off. Once that beeper goes off, start training and using my bullets. And then after I run out of that, throw grenades and run away. And then usually I get about 2,500 points, where you can pick up Juggernog or Speed Cola, depending on where you're at. So it randomly chooses one of those two perks to drop. You can also get Pack-a-Punch there as well. But once you teleport up, you're in space, so gravity is low, and you also need oxygen masks. In most areas, until you turn on power, once you get power on, you don't need an oxygen mask in certain rooms unless glass is destroyed or the excavator comes down. Moon I find very fun. There is another new boss and another new perk. The new perk is Mule Kick, which allows you to carry 3 weapons. They retroactively put it in every other zombie map after that because it's such a useful perk. The new boss is the, I call it the Imposter, or Among Us. It was not called it back then, but it literally, it's a astronaut that chases you around, and it actually uses one of your friend's gamer tags while you're playing. So it's basically the original Among Us. So what happens is if it touches you, it'll take one of your perks and teleport you somewhere in the map, along with doing massive damage. So it is very hectic. You don't have to kill it, but every time you do kill it, it does get stronger when it comes back. This is also the finale of Black Ops 1 Zombies. So this Easter egg, again, did not do it, so just quick gist of the ending. Samantha and Richtofen switch bodies, and Maxis blows up the Earth. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to do in this map. You get equipment that you can use, such as the PES and your hacking device and stuff like that. So it does take a lot to do everything on this map. The Nova Crawlers are back, and they can actually teleport now. So they do get annoying pretty fast as well. There's a lot to worry about and control in this map, but it still brings a fun experience. So I'm going to give this map a 8 out of 10. So Black Ops 1 is considered the zombies game. It's got all the most iconic maps and everything like that. The game altogether, I'm giving a 9 out of 10 for zombies. Really fun. Really enjoyed going through and replaying this. Couple weeks we'll talk about Black Ops 2. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below. It's that Nerd Ryan, signing off.